Hi there, crafty friends. Welcome and thank you for joining me. My name is Melissa Miller. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Southern California, and today we are going to use the Mountain Air stamp set. This is a 7-piece stamp set, and it is a 2-step stamp set. So what I want to do is first I'm going to show you what I mean by that. So it is a 2-step stamp set, which means that you can get the shadow behind the image. So we've got the images here, and then we've got a shadow for it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you real quick first, before we do anything, how to use that. You've got the flat portion of the stamp, which is normally what we would call the back of the stamp, but we're going to call it the reverse image today. So we're going to take some ink really lightly, and we're just going to stamp that. And you can see we're just going to stamp it. And then we've got the shadow. So we'll wipe that off real quick here. And then I will show you how we get the image on there. So then we're just going to take a darker color, ink up our image, and then we can line that up. I'm hoping I can do this. I'm not directly over it, but I think you're going to get the idea. We just take our image, stamp it inside that shadow, and then we've got a really neat outline look on there, which is really kind of nice, depending on what kind of card you're making. I've seen a lot of cards made with this stamp set, but we're going to do something different. So we got another invitation in the mail, and this invitation is on shimmery paper, and she's got the dark green and the lighter green mountains on there. And I wanted to make her a card that would match her invitations, because I'm thinking those are going to be her colors for the wedding. Now, I know it's not real feminine, but I want to show you what I did. So I've got the invitation. I went through my papers. I took the invitation with me to all my paper, and I came up with my shimmery white cardstock, which is really nice. The ink transfers on there beautifully. I've got mint macaron, soft succulent, and evening evergreen. And these colors match really, really well to her invitation. So those are the colors we're going to use. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got my piece here that we'll be using. This is my shimmery white, and this is cut to 3 by 5.5. So I'm going to take my large mountainscape. Now, if you can see here, my mountainscape does not fill the entire 5.5 width. So we're going to do a little masking. Let's bring in our soft succulent. Now, I wanted my soft succulent to be a little lighter than the full strength ink on here. So what I did was I'm inking this up, and then I am going to bring in a sponge dauber. So I'm just going to kind of make sure that I get in all those nooks and crannies. And by using this sponge dauber, it will also remove just a little bit of that ink, and it'll make it a little bit lighter. So that's what we'll do here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's figure out where we want to ink this. And let's put it right. I want to do it right on the bottom of the paper, but it's kind of hard for me to see because I'm not right over it. I think I got it pretty good though. So we just want to make sure that that ink transfers to the paper, and that's perfect. Let's bring in our mask. I already stamped 2 of these on my Avery removable paper. And we're going to put our mask. Now, we don't want our mask to go over the image. We want it to go a little bit under the image so we can still see the stamped image just a little bit. And I I think I want to move that. I want this one over a little bit more. We still want to see that stamped image just a little. So let's go ahead and ink this back up in our soft Succulent. And this is how we are going to extend that mountain range. So let's go ahead and use our sponge dauber again and just kind of smooth that ink out and get in all those nooks and crannies. So then we can bring our stamp back. Let's figure out what mountain range we want to add. I think that's probably pretty good. Yeah, right there. And I'm going to line it up with the bottom of the paper again. We're going to make sure we get good coverage. Just give it a nice press because we do have to go over that mask. I think that's probably pretty good. And there we go. We can pull off our mask and that's perfect. That extended our mountain range and it actually looks really seamless. Okay, so now we need to do our next color. So we actually have to put this back on there. Where does this go? You know what? I think we need to use this one. I did cut two. That's not it. We have to find it. Gosh darn it. Okay, so this one is over here. We're going to come down just a little bit. I'm hoping I'm not getting my head in there. And then we can bring this one back in and it looks like this goes right here. Nice, perfect underneath there. And then let's wipe off our stamp. It doesn't need to be wiped off completely, but just a little bit because we are using a little bit of a lighter color. Now we are going to bring in our mint macaron. We are going to ink up our stamp. Get some nice coverage on there. And then we can figure out where we want to stamp this. And I'm doing this twice because I wanted a taller mountain range. So I think right there is probably pretty good. So let's make sure we get good coverage on there. A little bit of pressure. There we go. That's good. Pull that off and that's perfect. So now we need to continue our mountain range over here. I am going to leave this bottom one on here, I think. And we just need to cover that. So we've got our bottom mountain range still covered. And we just need to cover our top mountain range because we are going to connect them. And I think I need to bring in this little piece over here. No, there we go. Just, we had one little corner that still wasn't covered. There we go. So we'll ink it back up in some more mint macaron. And we will extend that mountain range. Flip it over. And I think probably just like that. I think that looks good. We've got everything covered. Get some pressure on there because we do have to go over that mask and we want to make sure that it covers every little spot there. Perfect. Now we can take off our masks. Oops. And we have our perfect mountain ranges. I love that. We've got the darker on the bottom and the lighter on the top. Let me move this stamp out of the way and close up my ink. And now we are going to do our trees. She's got some trees in here at the bottom. She's got 2 pine trees. we are going to add those. I'm going to bring in my evening evergreen. So let's use our evening evergreen and stamp our tree. I'm just going to get that inked up really, really well. And I need my scratch paper back. Because we are going to hang over the bottom just a little bit on one of these. I think we need some more ink on there. I want a good dark image. There we go. Let's try to get this tree straight. So I'm going to bring my tree over here, and I want the tree trunk to show. I think that's probably pretty good. Even pressure on that block so we don't rock it. We don't want to mess up our image after all that stamping. And that's perfect. Now we need one more tree. We'll ink that up again. And we're going to put this tree to the left of the big one. And we're going to bring it down just a little bit. I think that's good right there. We don't need the whole tree. We're just going to bring it down a little bit. Even pressure. And there we go. I love that. That looks so nice, and it looks just like her invitation. What do you think? Do you like that? Okay, so let's go ahead and finish. So our Mountain Air stamp set does not have any sentiments in it, so I'm bringing in a stamp from the Splendid Thoughts stamp set. I'll be using the Much Love in Your New Life Together, and I'm hoping to do a video with this suite in the near future. So let's go ahead and bring in our Stamparatus. I've already got my stamp in there. And I took the foam mat out of my Stamparatus because this is a red rubber stamp. So let's go ahead and get that lined up. And I don't want this image to move at all in case we have to restamp it. So I will be using my magnets. Let's use our evening evergreen. And this is a very fine line sentiment, so we don't want to use much pressure at all. That's why I'm using the Stamparatus. If we put too much pressure on it, we could kind of distort our letters, and we don't want to do that. We want this to be perfect. So just a little bit of pressure, and that looks really good. I think we will stamp it up again, or ink it up again, and stamp it one more time. Let's see what we get this time. Just a little bit of pressure, not a lot. I'm just going to tap on it because that is a very fine line sentiment. And if we need to, we can always stamp it again. We can always put that stamp back in place with a little bit more pressure. And I think that is perfect. I love that. That looks really good. So we'll take this out of our Stamparatus, move that aside, and then we will build our card. So I know on her invitation, she doesn't have a lot of other colors, just the 3 colors, but I wanted a little bit more added to it. So I'm going to bring in some gold paper. Now, normally I would cut the middle out of my gold paper, but this is a pretty special occasion. So I am going to leave the gold whole, and we're going to layer this on there, just like that. So I will be bringing in my tear and tape here because I don't like to use liquid glue on my foil because I don't want to risk having it seep out. So we're just going to add some tear and tape here to all 4 sides. And then we'll do our corners. We'll lift up our corners and get that positioned perfect. All right. So let's go ahead and center this. My gold is cut to 3 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is a 1/2 inch taller than my white, than my shimmery white. I'm going to have to bring this down. I want to make sure I get this centered perfect. There we go. I think that's good. That looks pretty darn close. You know what? Let me just make sure. There we go. That's good. Now we can pull our release paper out. And that is perfectly centered. There we go. Perfect. Now we can layer this onto our evening evergreen. That is just beautiful. And then I've got an evening evergreen card base here. And I'm also attaching another piece of the shimmery on the inside, and I stamped congratulations. For the congratulations, I used my Charming Sentiments stamp out of there. So let's attach that to the inside. So there we go. We've got our inside done. Let's attach our front. And this will fit on there perfect. We're not going to have any kind of a border on there. She didn't have a border on her invitation, so I didn't want a border on the shimmery white. Let's attach that on there. Just like that. And then because we did add that gold foil, I am going to add some gold pearls. Once again, I am using our, there we go. It looks like it got a little crooked. There we go. Perfect. I will be using our red and green adhesive backed pearls, but you also get the silver and the gold in there. So I'm going to add some gold. Now, and like I said, this isn't real feminine, but her invitation, I wanted to match her invitation. So let's put some pearls on here. And I think that's perfect. I think all we need are 3 on there. So what do you think? Did I nail it or did I fail? I think we did pretty good here. I think it coordinates very well with her invitation. And then since I had my supplies out, because it is a really nice image, I went ahead and I did some birthday cards with it for like a masculine birthday card. I just changed the sentiment. I used, again, our Charming Sentiments, the wishing you happiest of birthdays, and I also did that in the evening evergreen. So those are my cards today. Please let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.